everyone and welcome to today's video. So today I'm doing a review of the BH Cosmetics Trendy in Tokyo palette. So there's a quick peek at all of the really gorgeous shades in the palette. What I'll do first of all is I will swatch all of the shades for you just so you can see what they look like. I'll show you how to create this really simple yellow and orange eyeshadow look, and then I'll just let you know my overall thoughts about the palette afterwards. So I hope that you enjoy. So as you can see, there are 16 shades in the Trendy in Tokyo palette, and I'm going to start off by swatching this kind of pink line, then the yellows and oranges, the kind of greens and teals, and then the purples and blues, just so you can see all of the shades quite clearly and easily. So there are the first 4 shades in the palette. These are all of the pink shades. So starting at the top is quite a pale pastel pink matte shade, that is shade Cherry Blossom. Underneath that is a really gorgeous pink metallic, quite a hot pink shade, that is Uno Park. Underneath that is a deeper pink matte shade, that is shade Harajuku, and then at the end there is an even darker pink metallic, and that is shade Mount Fuji. So really gorgeous selection of pinks. This one definitely does remind me of Cherry Blossom. It's very subtle, but yeah, absolutely gorgeous. And next up are the 4 shades that probably look very similar to the ones I've got on my eyes, but starting at the top is this pastel orange matte shade, that is shade Nigiri. Then there's this kind of red toned orange, it's not quite a red, definitely still more of an orange hint to it, that is Tokyo Tower. Underneath that is a darker orange matte shade, that is shade Kabuki. And just at the bottom here is a really gorgeous, vibrant and vivid yellow matte shade, and that is shade Shrine. And then on to the next 4 shades, and I think these are probably my favourite 4 shades out of the palette if I had to pick a whole kind of line to be a favourite. But starting at the top here is this really lovely like sea blue metallic shade. This one is very, very buttery, and this one is shade Shibuya. Underneath that is more of a forest green matte shade, which is shade Imperial Palace. Then there's this really gorgeous lime green metallic, again equally as buttery as this one here, that is shade Rainbow Bridge. And lastly here, probably the shade with the most perfect name to fit the shade itself, this is shade Neon. But I think this is a really gorgeous selection of greens, and definitely quite different to any greens I have in any of my other palettes. And last but not least is the purples and the blues. So starting at the top here is a really lovely sky blue matte shade, that is shade Ginza. Underneath that is a very sparkly kind of deep midnight blue metallic shade, that is shade Bullet Train. Underneath that is more of like a pastel lavender metallic, not as sparkly as this one, but it's still a really gorgeous shade, that is shade Roppongi. And last but not least is this dark purple matte shade, and that is shade Tokyo Station. So that is all 16 shades swatched in the very gorgeous Trendy in Tokyo palette. So now I'm going to show you how to create this really quick and easy orange and yellow eyeshadow look, so stick around. So here is the BH Cosmetics Trendy in Tokyo palette, and first of all the packaging is just super cool and super eye-catching, and then there are all of the really gorgeous shades. So there's 16 shades in this palette, a really lovely mix of mattes and shimmers, and again just carrying on with a really beautiful design on the inside. So I've obviously got all of my base makeup done just so I can focus on doing the eyeshadow look and just showing you a really great simple look and just testing out the palette. But first things first, I'm going to go ahead and lay down some eye base. So I have got my trusty Beauty Bay eye base, and this one is base 1. I thought where some of these shades are quite pastel and quite subtle, it would be really good to get a white eye base down just to really enhance the shades and kind of show them off to their full potential. So just pop a bit of that down on both of my eyes. If you wanted to recreate this look, you wouldn't have to use a white eye base. You could use like a concealer, or you could use obviously a nude eye base, or an eye base that obviously is similar to your skin tone. But I just thought for me, I would go for this white one. So there is the eye base all blended in, and I thought I would go for like a yellowy orangey look using this palette. You would have seen them all swatched by now, but I'm just kind of feeling like this row of shades is going to be really good to create today's look. So first of all, I'm going to be going in with shade Shrine, which I think I've said quite a few times, it can be quite hard to get a good yellow eyeshadow that's really pigmented and really does show up. But this one, I have to say, I've used a few times now and it's actually fantastic, especially for the price of the palette. But I'll go through all of that anyway. So just laying that down with quite a good sized fluffy brush, and you can see I haven't got a lot on there, but it's really pigmented, which, as I said, can sometimes be quite hard to find with a yellow, especially one like this which is a little bit more pastel-y. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that all laid down across sort of the first half of my eye, like so. So I'm going to go ahead and just get my other eye done as well. So I think for a yellow, that is so lovely and vibrant. The matte shades in this palette are really pigmented and they're not chalky or flaky or anything. This is the first BH Cosmetics palette I've ever actually tried, so overall I've definitely been very impressed with it. And if you've tried any of their other palettes, or you've tried any of the other palettes in their like travel range, then definitely let me know and let me know what you thought of them. But for my next shade, I'm going to be going in with this orange here. This is shade Nigiri, and it's just another really pretty matte shade. This is quite a nice subtle orange, and thought it would just blend in really nicely with that yellow. So I'm just going to take the same brush because I'm going to get those blended in together anyway, and going in with that on the outer part of my eye. So this is a really nice subtle kind of pastel orange. If you're looking for a darker orange, I definitely recommend going in with Tokyo Tower, but I wanted to keep this one looking quite spring-like, quite pastel and quite subtle, but that's just my preference for this look. And focusing that obviously on the outer part of my eye and just getting it all blended in the center. So these shades are really easy to blend, definitely very effortless. So if you're just starting out kind of with makeup or not hugely confident, this is definitely a great palette because the shades are all so easy to work with. So there's that all blended in together now on both eyes. So lastly, for the top lid, I'm going to be going in with shade Tokyo Tower, which is kind of like an orangey red matte shade. I would say it would be quite nice if there was a shimmer in this kind of part of the palette. All of the other rows do have a nice shimmer or two, but nothing in this kind of yellow, orange, red section. But going in with Tokyo Tower, and again, just the same brush. So I'm actually going to be popping this shade just on kind of the very outer part and into the crease, just to add a little bit of depth to the look. And I don't want too much of this because this shade is quite dark and quite buildable if you get sort of too much of it down. So just a really small amount, just to ever so slightly deepen up the outer part of the look. And now on to the under eye. So for that, I have gone for this slightly smaller brush this time, just to get a little bit more precision on the shade placement. And the shade I'm going in with first is shade Kabuki, which is like a mid-toned orange, and I just thought it'd be nice to start with that on the outer part of my under eye, just because I've obviously got the darker shades on the outer part of the top lid. So just popping that on my under eye. I'm wanting to bring that probably about sort of half to 2/3 of the way along my under eye, just leaving a little bit of space in the corner to go back in with shade Shrine, just to keep the inner part of the look that kind of pastel yellow. This again is a really gorgeous toned orange. I really do love the shades in this palette, and they are all so pigmented. So like so, just have a little bit of space to go back in with shade Shrine. And now lastly, I'm going back in with shade Shrine just on the very inner part of my under eye. So considering I've got no eye base on the lower part of my eye, you can still see how bright and vivid and pigmented that yellow shade really is. Well, there is the eyeshadow all done, but of course I still need to finish off the rest of the look. So eyeliner wise, just in my waterline, I'm just using this black eyeliner pencil. This one here is from Primark, but you could of course use any eyeliner that you wished, or even any shade of eyeliner that you wished really. Mascara wise, I'm just going for this Colourpop Act Natural Defining Mascara. This is a black mascara. Again, you could use any mascara that you wished, or if you wanted to go for a pair of false lashes just to really elevate or glam the look up, you could obviously of course do that. And then lastly, for my lipstick, I'm just using this one here from Rimmel. This is their lasting finish lipstick in the shade Asia, and it's just kind of a, I suppose, pretty standard pink lipstick colour. So first of all, just in with the eyeliner. You could of course do a liquid liner as well. I did kind of toy with the idea because I haven't got a shimmer on the top lid at all, but then I thought I really wanted the yellow and the orange to just really speak for themselves and just be the main focal point of the look. So I personally decided against it, but of course it's all down to personal preference. And then just on with the mascara. And then last but not least, just on with the lipstick. Again, of course, you could do any lipstick, lip gloss, liquid lip that you fancied, or if you wanted to just leave your lips as they were. Of course, it's all personal choice. And there is the final completed eyeshadow look. So I will just give you a close-up just so you can see it in a bit more detail. So that was my yellow, orange and red eyeshadow look using the BH Cosmetics Trendy in Tokyo palette. Of course, there's so many different shades in here and so many really lovely and gorgeous colour combinations. The looks really are quite endless, and I think this is just an ideal palette for the spring and the summer because there's just loads of really wearable and just versatile shades in here. So I've already briefly spoken about the packaging. I just think it is so pretty and it's just so eye-catching. The size of the palette as well, it's quite small, so it's really good for travel or taking away with you. Doesn't take up too much space, and considering the palette isn't that big, the actual pan size is pretty decent. There's a lovely mix of mattes and shimmers in the palette. The shimmers are buttery and vivid, and the mattes are pigmented and they're not chalky. Very buildable, good range of more pastel shades and kind of some less pastel shades, which I think is again really versatile. So if you were to pick this up in Australia, it retails for about $30, which in the UK is about £16, and in the US is about $22. So I think overall a really affordable palette, and if you like a bright eyeshadow look or love bright colours, this is definitely the palette for you. So do let me know if you've tried any of the other BH Cosmetics palettes or any of the other palettes in their travel range. I have seen a few others that I do quite like the look of, so would definitely fancy trying those out myself. But I really hope that you enjoyed this review of the BH Cosmetics Trendy in Tokyo palette, and I hope that you enjoyed seeing all the swatches and also the eyeshadow look that I created. But thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, don't forget to give it a huge thumbs up, leave me a comment, and if you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you again in my next video.